Hey everyone, and welcome to this video lesson. So this one is about JavaScript. So in this mini series, I want to build with you an object completely in JavaScript, so a Jitter object completely in JavaScript, which allows us to do something that could be pretty useful. So what I want to achieve at the end of this mini series is to have a wall of videos rendered in our rendering window, so the window created by our cheat world, and I want to be able to click on one of these videos and get the full path of this video out of my JS object. So this could be useful, for example, when you make an installation in which you allow the user to select a video, and then this video gets processed in some ways. I don't know, for example, the user could click with a touch screen on the videos, and then the name of the video comes out from the JS object, and then it's used to process it or do whatever with it. So this is going to be all written in JavaScript, since I'm working pretty a lot with JavaScript in Max in those days, and I find that it's super useful to create jitter algorithms, which would be otherwise very inconvenient to write in Max. And this could be also a way for people that already know how to work with JavaScript to kind of check the syntax for jitter, which is not always intuitive, so I hope this can be useful for a variety of Max users on all kind of level of JavaScript programming. So, without further ado, let's jump into the programming and let's go. I'm going to create a new patch because we are going to do everything from scratch. And I'm going to call this, I'm going to save it on my desktop. I'm going to call this JS video wall max path, something like that. Good, so I'm actually going to create a folder for that. I'm going to call it video wall tut. I'm going to put the patch that I just saved inside there. So JS video wall is inside this folder now. I'm going to open it. And in the same folder, I'm going to save the JavaScript files, right? Because they must be in the same folder in order for Max to find them without the need to set a path. Cool. So first thing we need is a JIT world, because this is going to be an abstraction that works with OpenGL, so we need a rendering context, which we can have through a JIT world object. I'm going to give this world a name and call it something like my context or something like that. I'm going to give it full scale anti-aliasing, why not? I'm going to say floating one, and that's it. So that's my world. I'm going to create a toggle to enable and disable it. Very well. And now we need to create our JavaScript object, our JS object, in which our whole abstraction, our whole external is going to be written. So let's create it. Let's call it video wall.js, something like that. Cool. Now this file doesn't exist. So first thing I do is double click on the JS object with the patch locked. I write auto watch equal 1 because I want to edit this file on another editor, which is going to be Visual Studio Code. I save it in the same folder in which I created the patch, so Max will now find it. And now if I double click on it again, it's going to open it in Visual Studio. So there it is, our file. So I'm a big fan of object-oriented programming, although I'm not a pro, but I just like, this kind of makes sense in my head. So we're going to use an object-oriented programming approach. We're going to create a class, which is the video player class. And then in our main JS file, we're going to kind of call all the functions that we need to make this thing operational. So one thing that I'm going to do is to create a new file in which we're going to write our video player class. So a new file. I'm going to save it in the same folder, and I'm going to save it as a JS file, just to give it an extension. And I'm going to call it, this is going to be our video player class, so I'm going to call it video player. Right. So now we need to include this file into our main JavaScript file. So we're going to do like this. We're going to use the include keyword, and we're going to say include video player.js. Cool. So now whatever we write inside this other file is going to be ported to this main file. So why am I actually dividing this into two files? Because I find it neat. I like it to have it organized in this way. I don't want the files to be too big with 1000 lines of code. I always like to kind of split these up in different JavaScript actual files. So I think this is kind of nice to keep everything tight. So now we're going to create our class. So we're going to create our class like this, function video player, and that's our object. So what do we need in our video player class? Well, first we need a JIT movie object, because it's the object that is responsible to play the actual movie. So we're going to say this, which refers to this instance of this class, this movie player, let's actually call this, let's actually call it just this movie. No, let's call it this movie player is equal to a new Jitter object, which is the JIT movie object. Good. And then we need to give it a context. We're going to do this in a second, a context to which it must render to. So this dot movie player dot draw to equal context. Now we need to pass a context to this object. And I think I will do it like this. I will pass it here in the constructor of the object. So when we create an instance of this object, we're going to pass the context in the constructor itself, so we can assign it to the draw to attribute of the movie player. Cool. Then we have to say this movie player output texture 1, because as you know, in Jitter we only want to play movies with output texture 1 unless extremely special cases. So this dot movie player dot output texture equal to 1, and you can check one of my recent tutorials about why we need to always play textures from JIT movie, basically because it's very much more efficient than playing matrices. So, and this is how we assign attributes in JavaScript to objects that we create in JavaScript. Basically, we write the name of the attributes, which is a property of this object, and we assign the value as we will do it in Max. So for example, if I would write 0, this would mean that it doesn't have to output textures. If I write 1, it means that it must output textures. So pretty cool. This movie player dot volume I want to set to 0. I don't want to hear the sound from the movie players. Cool. Let's maybe also say that this movie should be automatic. So this movie player dot automatic equal 1, which means it's going to continuously play this movie. And cool, this is it for the moment. Now, what we also need inside this class is a video plane on which we're going to render our movie. So we can do it like this. Let's create a video plane, call it video plane, actually with a big P. So video plane, we're kind of using this camel syntax thing. So this video plane, it's equal to a new Jitter object, which is JIT GL video plane. And this needs to draw to our context, so we can just do it directly when we create the object. We say, okay, you have to draw to the context that I pass you as a second argument. Cool. Then this dot video plane, we probably want to scale it. That is a bit small, so we are going to, for the moment, let's say scale equal 0.2. So it's going to be scaled 1/5 of the original size. That's it. So now we need to go into our main file and start to kind of create the logic that allows us to play those movies. So first of all, we want to fill an array containing objects from our movie player class for all the videos that we want to play. So for example, we could say we load a folder containing a lot of videos, and all these videos are going to be mapped to a movie player object and going to form our grid in our rendering window. Okay, so we need to do it like this. So we need to create a folder object that allows us to read the files from a folder. We can do like this. But let's call it like a global folder. I always like to put a G in front of global variables, because this kind of allows us to know which variables are global and which one are local. For example, all the variables that we wrote inside the video player class, these are locals, because they're actually part of the class. We can see that with this with the this keyword, which means refers to this instance of this object. And if a variable is global, I like to put a JIT in front of its name. So this is going to be it's going to be null first. We don't want to assign it to everything. I'm going to assign it to a new folder in a moment in which we call the function load folder from our patch. So let's actually create this function load folder, and this is going to be the path of the folder we want to load. And then we need to assign a new folder object to the G folder variable. So G folder equal to new folder, which loads, nope, not G folder, but new folder. So we're going to create the folder object, which takes the path. So it's going to assign this folder that we pass it to the G folder object. Cool. And then we can, for example, limit the types of files that we want to read to be, for example, only MOV and MP4. So we need to do something like this: G folder dot type list. This is the attribute we want to modify. And for MOV, it's written like this. This is the type of file that Max assigns to MOV, to .mov. And for MP4, it's called MPG4. Alright, so now our folder object is only going to recognize files that have these extensions .mov and .mp4, which is basically what we want for our videos. If then we want more type of files, we can also add them to this list, to this array. So cool, now what we need is an array where to store our movie player objects. So var g, let's call it g video players, something like that. And this is going to be an empty array. So when we load the folder, we want actually to initialize it again. So g video players equal to an empty array. And then we want to iterate through the folder, and for every file that we find, we want to load this file inside the JitMovie object that is inside our video player class. So let's do like this, while, and this is kind of the standard way we use to iterate through a folder. This example, you can find it in the JavaScript example in Max, how to do that. But I'm going to show you. So while gfolder.end, it's not true. So if we still didn't arrive to the end of the folder by iterating, then we do this. gmovies.push, and we're going to push a new movie video player object. So new video player, an object from the video player class. Video player class, and if you remember, we gave in the constructor of this object that we will pass the context to this object. So we actually need a variable to store our context. Yeah, exactly. We can actually hard code it for the moment. I think I called it my context. Exactly, then we're going to pass it through a function, and then we're going to see even some smarter way to do that. But for the moment, we are just going to assign it to that. We could actually declare it as an attribute, also the context. So we can say declare attribute, and that's the name of the attribute. And we don't want to get it or set it in any special way. We don't want to save it with the JavaScript, so that's how we are going to declare it. Cool. So we are going to pass here the context. And actually, we should also pass inside the path to the video we want to load inside the JitMovie object. So we can put another variable inside the constructor and say that this .movieplayer.read path to the video that is JitMovie object is going to read. Cool. So we need to pass here the context, and then we're going to pass the path. But actually, this is just the path of the folder, right? Because we are going. This is the path that we pass. This is the path that we pass here, which is just the path to the folder. So we need to add the name of the file, and then we can have it by writing git folder.file name. So this is the current file that the G folder object is iterating through. And then we just need to go to the next file. So we say gfolder.next. That's actually a function which advances to the next file. So for every iteration, we're going to check if we arrived at the end of the folder. If not, we're going to check which file we are iterating to. And we assign this the path to the folder plus the file name to the video player class, which is going to use this data basically to load a video inside the JitMovie object. And then we're going to go to the next file in the folder with gfolder.next. Cool. And that's basically it. Now we can see that our videos are going to load all the movies contained inside the folder that we pass it. Cool. Okay, let's just make a test to see if this works. I'm thinking how we can do that. We could, for example, print after the movie read this file, we could, for example, post to the Max console, we could post this movie player.movie file to check if it actually read it. So let's give it a try. And if we include this file inside the main file, every time we save this file and we want to update also the current JS running in the object, we need to also save the main file. So if we modify this file that is included, we want to save the file that is included and then save on the main file, and then the modifications that we made are going to be ported to the main file. Cool. So now we need to prepend load folder, and we're going to send a path to the folder that we want to load inside this object. So let's give it a try. For example, I'm going to use a drop file object. Going to drop inside this object a video from the Max library, and so to see where they are actually stored. We can see that they are stored in C program files, Sakin74, Max8 resources, media, Jitter, and then the name of the movie. We don't actually want the name of the movie because we just want the path to the folder. So I'm going to attach this here to the prepend. Now it's going to call the load folder. And of course we get some errors. So let's check what's going on. G movies is not defined, so let's check why. Oh, and that's why I called JIT movies here, but before I called it JIT video player, so sorry very much about that. So this is actually called G video players. This is our array where we contain all the movies, all the movie players. So let's try again, and it seems to be working. We just got an error on the first one. Actually, we could append an empty line here, like this. Then I save here, I call again this function. So, okay. Cool, we can see that the first movie is actually not read. Alright, so let's check why it's that. It's just an empty... It's just an empty name. So, let's check how we can avoid that. We can say, for example, if... G folder.file name, and this is going to be a string, so length is greater than 1, for example. So it means that this is actually a real name of something, because if it will be only one letter, it's difficult that it's going to be the name of a movie. So we could check it like this. Let's try again, and cool, we got rid of this empty thing. Okay. Nice. So, cool. I think I would like to stop here for the moment, so this doesn't get too long and too complex. And in the next video, we're going to see how we can actually play the movies. So, if you're interested, check out the next one, which I'm going to record right away. So, it's going to come out right after this video. Oh, thank you very much for following, and download the patch from my Patreon. Hope this is interesting, and see you in the next JavaScript video. Ciao!